Welcome to I Know a Guy Bicycles.
Welcome to I Know a Guy Bicycles, hanging out with the guy. Hi, I'm Justin the guy. Obviously, I have a garage shop. Taking scary how to use bikes one bike at a time.
If you like these videos, please like and subscribe.
Next is the crankset. So before just throwing it on there, I want to show what I do to prep it. When I take the crank, some of these have a self-extracting bolts. The 105s did not. You can always upgrade. Find some on eBay or what have you to replace those. That's not a problem to do that. Also, here's the left. I kind of like to set those up so they're staged and get my, not the right size, Allen. Actually, I use this guy. And now it takes the number 8. That fits into these guys. So, put that in my pocket. Ready to go. So I'm gonna flip it up and throw them on. But before that, I'll just put on the cable guide and give you a little sneak peek of that. Alrighty, so it's going to go right into this threaded hole here where I've taken it off. And the threads are right here. A lot of them will be threaded. Keep in mind that the front derailleur cable is going to loop through here, and you can kind of see some scarring right here from the cable itself, magnets. And then this one's going to be straight. So when you're thinking of putting those together, so you don't want to put it this way, you want to put it this way. And the spacing is pretty important too. So I know there usually will be 2 holes. Now it's all burgered up. Get out of there. Oh, that's a good place to have a magnet. There we go. So if you haven't seen it, this one's already been scarred. That's where it was originally. But if you put it over here, that shifts the cables over too far over. So you want to have a kind of the path of least resistance is the idea with any cable routing and so forth. A little snug, but not too tight. You don't want them barreling cranked on tight. So that's your cable guide that goes underneath there. So I'm kind of glad that I have this particular style. So you can actually see the notches, they're engraved in there to match up here. So when you have a self-extracting one, it's kind of, you can't really see those. So this is really giving you a good example what you're looking at. So you want to line these up so it fits those teeth marks right on, like so. That way they have a line of contact. This is alloy, aluminum, right? So if you get these crooked, they will scar the inside of this. This is steel. So you're gonna have a little trouble if you don't get it lined up just right. If you can't see it with those self-extracting bolts, which you can't, I try to visualize the notch on the opposite side vertically. So I kind of know that it is pretty straightforward because these are straight up and down crosswise. So that's what you want to do there. I'm going to throw a little bit of lube on these so they're easier to take off next time around. Doesn't need to be a lot, just enough to give a little bit of a coating. Usually preventing it from seizing. Line up those notches, you'll feel engage. Then you want to make sure you have your little washer there. And tighten it up like so. And it will bottom out. So it's really kind of, you'll know when you're done tightening. Boom. That's that one. Same thing here. Just make sure you're not doing it the same direction, the opposite direction. Sometimes, get confused while you're working on stuff. That spacer's already in there, so. There we go. Whee! So now, since I have that crank set on there, now I can put the front derailleur. You can put the front derailleur on there, but you may not know where exactly to put it because the front derailleur is correlation to the spacing of the crank arm chain rings. So let's show you how that works. We got this guy here. You can see the scarring from the front derailleur being on there before. That's usually a good indication where you need to go. It's a good start. So the idea is it needs to be parallel to the chain rings. And these used to have a little sticker on them that had a little 2 millimeter little hash mark on them. That's what you want to shoot for. And not at this, that's the sitting position. A lot of these derailleurs, sometimes they ramp upwards when they go up because of the pivot. So you can't really test it until it's been tightened down. So that's what you're looking for, is that spacing, about 2-3 millimeters above that. And parallel this way, like so. Then it's time to put on that rear derailleur. And how I'm holding this, let me ask a little gold nugget trick. To get this little screw to go over the derailleur hanger hook, I kind of have to hold the derailleur down like this to get it out of the way. So I have a little hand position that pushes this forward with my thumb so I can get at it without smashing into the frame. Something you naturally do it after doing so many years, but you forget about. That's kind of like a neat little handhold trick, that kind of thing, to get that derailleur on there. So that's all set. Okay, remember I'm going to replace this chain, so the chain itself is stretched, and I got myself a new chain, 9-speed. This is a SRAM PC71. There's some like 51 and 31s, a cheaper model or heavier. But some people really geek out on their chains. So keep in mind, anything with performance goes, higher the performance, the better quality it is for a shorter period of time of life. So if you want durability, go a little cheaper. Long lasting, go a little cheaper. Better performance, lighter weight, go more expensive. Keep in mind, it's not gonna last as long as these. So, or the lower end. That's your piece there. There's pieces all over the place. Where'd you go? Over there. Okay, so over here, I'm going to measure it exact. It's gonna line it up exact. And over here, I'm gonna show you where. Actually, let's see here. This is a good way to do it. Okay. So I'm gonna line these two guys up evenly here. I'm gonna match the space as many the same. Line it up. So the new chains are gonna be a little bit longer. So gonna be cutting the chain here. Well, should I cut it here? No, because it's actually a SRAM. I don't need this extra bit because this replaces this piece here. So I'm gonna be cutting or trimming it there. I don't have to push it all the way through, just enough that. Then here's no gold nugget. You keep this little piece and you put it in your pack. Just in case you break your chain while in your ride, you at least have a little extra bit that you can splice in there if need be on to continue your ride. So this chain is now cut to length compared to the old one. Here's a note. The chain I took on there was appropriate length. I measured it when I was checking it. If you buy a used bike, don't assume that. So you'll have to go through the actual chain measurement on the frame itself. That'll be a whole separate video in itself. I'm not going to get into that, and there's plenty of other videos out there to Google it up. But on this particular channel, I knew it matched, so I cut it to match. So if you have a bike, you know it matches, it's the right length, then you just do this process. If you don't know, and it's a new bike to you that's used, then you might want to double check it by measuring it out. To put the last piece on there, before we start stringing up cables, is the chain. You thread it through the derailleur. Well, I like to anyway. There's several different ways of doing it, but this is the direction I like to go. Ooh, there you go. Like so. The reason being is I like to put it together down here or do any chain work. If you do it on the top, you're fighting gravity. This way you can see it just hangs there and you can access it. There's a whole bunch of little tricks out there that you can do. And these do come pre-treated with a kind of like a manufacturer grease. I usually leave it on there. It lasts a while. And it does pretty decent, but when you do the first cleaning, that's when you can replace it with a grease that you prefer. How does quick links, power links work, depending what brand it is. Oh, you need to just squeeze it together. There we go. So it'll hold shape. Then use these MLP-1.2. So 1.1 didn't make the cut apparently. Anyway, that was span out. And what that is a notched reverse kind of plier. You use the same tool to take it apart and put it together. That's with the power link as well as the quick links power links for SRAM, quick links for Shimano, and I'm sure there's X-Link for another brand. Anyway, same kind of concept between all three of them. And between you and me, a lot of them are interchangeable. So the spacing on these things are about the same between them. And there's probably going to be somebody out there like, no, they're not. Well, probably are, and they probably work in a pinch. So keep that in mind. Specifications on these, and most likely they're made in the same place. That's how a lot of manufacturing is. So anywho, that's the last bit there. Got my parts on. The next video is going to be stringing it up. Thank you for spending some time with me from the garage. Until next time, have a wonderful day.